Welcome back to Plato's Academy. You got it?
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
Oh, we're going to geek out.
We're going to geek out today.
I want to
Okay.
geek out. I heard you've been thinking some stuff about Tolkien. And of course, I
Yep.
want to hear about that.
Yeah. I thought you got
I got
the
my
Tolkien mug.
mug.
We started talking about Tolkien
I
mug.
warn you, if you bore me, I shall take my revenge.
A little bit of J.R.R.
Yeah, yeah.
His spirit.
Yep.
You know, first of all, I suppose if we had a choice to hang out with Mr. Tolkien or Mr. Lewis or Mr. Chesterton,
Yeah.
who would you choose?
Gosh, that'd be great to hang out with any of them, really, especially if we are at the Eagle and the Child.
Yeah.
I
The
don't
Bird
know.
and the
I don't
Baby.
know. Yeah, I don't know what pubs Chesterton hung out at, but clearly he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He hung out probably, it looked like, by the appearance of him, he hung out at more pubs.
Oh yeah, and he defended.
ate
He
more.
defended the nature of the public
And
house.
ate more at the pubs than
Yes.
others. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I think probably I would hang out with, I don't know.
I think
probably,
it depends.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
Probably
But on
Lewis.
what you want to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was geeking out.
Yeah.
Because every now and then when I just want to, it's kind of like escape fiction sometimes for me.
Mhm.
I just listen to the Silmarillion
Yeah.
on Audible.
Uh-huh.
I really enjoy listening to it.
Mhm.
And I was listening to the other day, I was listening to the Akalabeth,
Mhm.
which is the fall of Numenor. And I had some interesting thoughts about some analogies between who we are and like what we're doing in life
Cool.
and who I am and like
Cool, I
who
wanna
the
hear about it.
Numenorians were
Right.
and all that.
Just so you know, out in the audience, I actually have no idea what he's about to say. He hasn't told me anything about this.
Yeah.
I'm literally learning this with you. So,
Yeah.
what are you learning here?
Well, I was thinking. So the Numenorians are this ancient race of men, and they've been blessed by the gods, the lords of the West.
So this is like the second age of Middle Earth.
Yeah. So they've been blessed by the gods because the gods defeated Melkor or Morgoth and the lords of the West that came forth in the hosts of Valinor and they defeated Melkor, which was a wonderful moment. He got and went out through the doors of night and he cast out into the void and all that.
Outer darkness.
Out to the outer darkness. And then the Numenorians and this island was created right by the gods. And
Kind of like Atlantis.
yeah, kind of like totally is the Atlantis. Yeah, it was
Atlantis
Tolkien's
myth,
Atlantis myth.
Yep.
Absolutely. And then these men were blessed with the wisdom of the lords of the West and of the Eldar, who are of course the firstborn, who are of course
Yeah, the elves.
the elves. And they were awesome. They were awesome at everything. They were really great at building things. They created this amazing island in the city.
Yeah, their culture, their
culture,
practices.
yes.
An
It was-
example of practices and cultures and
Yes.
institutions and
They
operational
took the wisdom
political
of the
economy.
past, the
Yeah.
inheritance of the lords of the West
Yes.
through the Eldar to
Yes.
them. They were blessed with long life.
Yep.
They had excellent, they were amazing seafarers and had this incredible civilization for a couple thousand,
Beauty, truth,
thousand
goodness.
years actually is how
Yeah.
long it lasted.
Yeah.
But then after the couple thousand years, they, as you know, they got proud and they began to worship the wrong things. They actually set up a temple for Melkor. Sauron came as a king of Middle Earth.
Yes.
He came, and they did not. He was worried.
Of course,
he was
they
scared
didn't
about them.
know who Sauron was.
They
at
didn't
that
know
point.
that he was
He wasn't who
lieutenant
we
of
know
Melkor.
Sauron as in the Third Age.
Yes, exactly. He wasn't just an eyeball floating around.
Exactly. Right. The flaming eye.
Yeah. And so instead, he comes and he basically tries to talk with them, and he realizes, wow, they're too powerful, and so he feigns humility, and they accept him into their culture, and then he convinces some of them to build a temple and to eventually first they question. They question what they believe and the limit that Iluvatar has put on them, which is death. That men are the mortals; they die. Elves are immortal, and they don't die unless they're
They
killed
get
in battle.
interested in the technocratic
Yes,
impulse.
yes,
Right.
and yes,
Defeat
they
death
do.
like the transhumanists.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and that's where I'm going
Is
a
that
little
where
bit,
you're going? Okay.
with this. Not exactly the
I'm hearing
transhumanists.
the sort of echoes in the
Yep.
relation.
Yep. So anyway, you've got the Numenorians blessed with the wisdom from the lords of the West, and then they're beginning to question the wisdom of the past, question the wisdom of the Valar, and they live in this place called Aman, the Blessed Realm. But why can't they go there?
Yeah.
They can go everywhere else,
Yeah.
but there's a limit.
Envy.
There's a limit put on
Yes.
them. The ban.
Yeah.
They put a ban. You can only go this
It's like
far.
the Garden of Eden. You can do all this stuff, but you can't taste of
exactly.
the tree of knowledge of
Exactly.
good and evil.
Exactly. And so there was a limit put on the men, and they just couldn't resist. And Sauron tempted them. Is why in question? Why can't you see that? Why can't you just go over there and check it out?
Yeah.
Like
Not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not a big deal. The best excuse forever for all of things Satan once done.
Exactly. And so the lies of Melkor continue, his spirit continued through Sauron and these questions, these lies, and questioning the authority of of the Valar and of the Lords of
value
the
of
West.
tradition.
Yes.
The nature of limits and
Exactly.
how
And
we're
that-
finite and that's
yes.
who we are.
Yes, and so that nature of limits is kind of what I was thinking about. Is that's so much like the Garden of Eden. Yep, we have the Garden of Eden. There's an arbitrary limit, put on by God that God has a right to do, and we cannot pass that. And when humans try to pass that, we create all sorts of problems. Obviously, the Numenorians created a pretty large problem. They, at one point in time, our Farazan decides he's going to assault the Valar. He's actually going to
Wage war.
Yes, he's going to wait. He's going to go over there, and no matter what, I'm going to do this.
So was he one of the black Numenorians, or is that something that comes
Yeah,
later?
he was one of the bad ones. Yes,
The black Numenorians.
yeah, yeah. He wasn't one of the faithful.
Okay.
So
Right.
there's like the faithful and the black or the bad ones, right? And so anyway, he convinces other people to do this. They create this temple. They build a temple to Melkor. They offer sacrifices to Melkor. Then decide they completely give in. We want to pass the Valar. We want to be like this. We want to be like the gods. Totally like the Garden of Eden. Even though Tolkien would hate the allegory.
The direct
Obviously,
comparison.
it's not a direct allegory. I know, but it really
But it's
works.
analogously related, and he would be fine with that.
Absolutely analogously related. And I thought, what we have to do in the educational world we're in, and I was thinking of myself, but you too, is we have to be the Numenorians, but we have to be the faithful. We have to be faithful to the wisdom of the past, to the Lords of the West. We have to remember the Lords of the West. And to me, the Lords of the West are the classics, the canon of the classics. It's not really canon.
Right.
These great thinkers.
Yes.
Right. And we have to remember that and teach that and not think about just what limits can we surpass. And I didn't think of transhumanism, although that's perfect. I thought of AI and all the places that these people want to go.
Yeah.
We can go there. So since we can, we should.
Yes.
And that's this ultimate
I mean,
limit.
that's the technocratic impulse. Since we can invent it, since we can innovate, we should.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how that's going to affect us. We don't care about whether or not we can't predict how it's going to change society or not. Right? It's just we got to do it because we can.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And so that you get the idea. We must be the Numenorians, the faithful, who stay true to what the Lords of the West have called us
The
to.
wisdom of tradition.
The wisdom of tradition, the inheritance, what the Lords
Practices,
of the West.
not just
Yes.
not, as you compared it to like thinkers, like philosophers and theologians, and that
practices
kind of thing.
too.
But the practices, I think that's key. The way in which that embodies a knowledge, a wisdom, the truth about how to acquire and discern our highest good.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And so obviously they made this beautiful civilization.
Yeah.
And then they went to Tol Eressëa, where Avalonia, which was a beautiful city that the elves lived in, that was the closest to Aman. They were not allowed to go past that, right? And they decided we're going to go past it. Of course, the Lords of the West marshal their strength and create this great flood that destroys much of Middle Earth.
Yep.